You're not going to believe this, but one of Florida's most reliable tourist groups is disappearing. And honestly, it's already having ripple effects across the economy. I'm talking about Canadians, the Snowbirds. And this time, it's not just a dip, it's a full-on pullback. Not only are fewer Canadians booking winter stays, but, many are actually selling off their Florida properties entirely. And yet somehow, Florida didn't see it coming. You might think this is just about high property taxes or rising insurance premiums, but what if I told you that the real reasons go far deeper into politics, personal values, and a quiet but powerful protest movement that's gaining steam? Today, I'm going to talk about actual examples from people who've spent decades wintering in Florida. People who've now pulled out, taking tens of thousands of dollars per person out of the U.S. economy each year. That's restaurant bills, rental income, local attractions gone, and the numbers from real estate platforms like Redfin back it up. Interest from Canadian buyers has dropped more than 25% year over year. Florida thought it could shrug this off, but the signs from empty rentals to stalled property sales are saying otherwise. For years, it was almost a ritual. Every fall, just as the leaves began to turn in Canada, thousands of retirees would begin their migration south. They weren't just tourists, they were snowbirds, people who didn't just visit Florida, but temporarily lived there, contributing tens of thousands of dollars each year to the local economy. But this year, something has changed. More and more Canadians are deciding not to return. Some are canceling plans. Others are selling their properties altogether. Across forums, comment sections, and conversations, the sentiment is the same. We're done. This isn't just about escaping the cold anymore. It's become a statement, a reaction to changing conditions, whether political, social, or financial. Many feel that the place they once felt welcomed has shifted, and no amount of palm trees or sunshine can override that feeling. Seasonal rentals that used to be snapped up a year in advance are sitting empty. Real estate agents are seeing a drop in Canadian interest. The numbers are down, the bookings are quiet, and Florida's winter economy is starting to feel the chill. One of the earliest warning signs that something was shifting came from real estate platforms. According to data from Redfin, interest from Canadian buyers searching for U.S. properties dropped by more than 25% compared to last year. That's not just a seasonal blip, it's the most significant decline among all foreign buyers. And guess what? Florida is right at the center of it. For decades, Florida was the dream. Warm winters, beachside living, and relatively affordable homes made it the ultimate escape for Canadians looking for a second home. But now, real estate agents across the state are seeing something different. Inquiries are down, and for some, they've stopped altogether. One agent who typically works with several Canadian buyers each season reported that this year, for the first time in over a decade, not a single Canadian client reached out. Even more telling is the rise in foreign sellers. Multiple agents have reported an uptick in properties being listed by non-resident owners. It's a quiet but powerful reversal. Instead of buying into the dream, people are backing out of it. The reasons vary. Yes, some mention rising insurance costs or property tax burdens, but, many say the shift isn't just financial, it's emotional. It's about whether the United States still feels like a place they want to invest in or even visit. If real estate sales are the long game, then rentals are the immediate pulse of snowbird activity. And right now, that pulse is faint. In years past, seasonal rentals in Florida were practically impossible to get last minute. Properties would be booked out a year in advance, especially the ones in the most popular beachside towns and retirement-friendly neighborhoods. But in 2025, that's no longer the case. Entire rental blocks that used to have waiting lists are sitting empty. Even as peak winter months approach, rental agents are quietly sounding the alarm. Some say their Canadian clientele has simply vanished. Others report longtime tenants booking or informing them that they won't be returning this year or ever. And that silence is expensive. These aren't just rooms collecting dust. These are furnished homes, condos, and villas that once brought in thousands of dollars a month for local owners, many of whom rely on that seasonal income. The domino effect is real. Cleaning crews, property managers, landscapers, and handymen are all seeing fewer calls and fewer paydays. And it's not just about the empty homes. Snowbirds who rent also eat out, shop, hire local services, and visit attractions. When those visitors vanish, it's not just a property that goes unused. It's an entire economic ecosystem that loses its lifeblood. What's striking is that this change didn't come with a bang. No big announcement or viral protest, just a steady, quiet pullback. A winter that looks emptier. A season that used to be a guaranteed boom, now hanging in uncertainty. And if Florida's rental market continues this slide, it's not just a loss of tourism. At first glance, it's easy to assume the Canadian pullback from Florida is about economics. Rising home insurance, unfavorable exchange rates, maybe the cost of living. But when you really listen to what these former snowbirds are saying, a more powerful truth emerges. This isn't just about money, it's about principle. More and more Canadians are making the choice not just to stay home, but to actively divest from the United States, specifically Florida, as a quiet form of protest. Some mention the political climate, others point to broader cultural shifts. For many, it comes down to a simple feeling. This place no longer reflects who I am. These aren't wealthy investors chasing market returns. These are everyday people who used to love their winters down south. People who built routines around morning walks on the beach, coffee at the same local spot, and chats with neighbors. But for them, something changed. And once the emotional connection breaks, the spending stops. Some have redirected their winter plans entirely, choosing to explore places like Portugal, Spain, or even stay within Canada. Others say they'll never invest again in a country where they feel their values are no longer welcome. This shift is significant because it can't be solved by cutting property taxes or offering discounts on flights. It's not transactional, it's emotional. And that's what makes it so hard to reverse. The real loss here isn't just the dollars, it's the relationships, the loyalty, the quiet bond that make Canadians reliable, respectful, seasonal neighbors. Florida didn't just lose customers, it lost advocates. And now, in the year 2025, that emotional break is starting to reshape the entire dynamic between Florida and one of its most important seasonal communities. When a snowbird skips a season, it's easy to think it only impacts a single condo or one local cafe. But in reality, it triggers a ripple effect that spreads across entire communities, and the consequences are far greater than most people realize. Let's break it down. So just to give you an idea, one Canadian family that typically spends their winter months in Florida might drop about $40,000 into the local economy in just one season. That covers everything from groceries, dining out, healthcare visits, haircuts, car rentals, excursions, home repairs, and yeah, even tipping service workers. Now imagine multiplying that by thousands. We're not talking about tourists who stay a week and snap a few beach photos. Snowbirds move in for months at a time. They're consistent, dependable, and often deeply embedded in their winter communities. They build routines. They support small businesses. Many even become like part-time locals. Now, with fewer Canadians returning, small business owners are definitely feeling the difference. Restaurants that used to rely on regular winter traffic are seeing quieter dining rooms. Grocery stores are adjusting their stock. Attractions are reporting lower off-season attendance. Even golf courses and marinas, which are usually booming in January and February, are reporting fewer bookings and less spending. And here's the irony. Some Americans are actually cheering the absence, thinking it means less traffic and more affordable homes. But that's not really how it works. With fewer seasonal customers, a lot of businesses just can't afford to operate at full capacity. Prices don't drop, they rise, or worse, the doors close altogether. Florida's seasonal economy wasn't built on casual weekend visitors. It was built on the steady, reliable presence of snowbirds, many of them Canadian. And now in the year 2025, the cracks are starting to show in places where few thought to look. While Florida is feeling the sting the hardest, it's not alone. Across the United States, cities that once thrived on Canadian snowbird traffic are reporting sharp drops in interest, not just in purchases, but even in basic online searches for property. In a single year, Canadian searches for homes in Houston dropped by 55%. Philadelphia saw a 53% decline. Chicago down 47%. These aren't beach towns or retirement havens. But that's the point. The trend is nationwide. From Sunbelt hotspots to major metro hubs, Canadians are simply tuning out of the U.S. housing market. And, this isn't just about real estate. These numbers reflect something deeper. A drop in curiosity, in aspiration, in interest. Fewer people browsing homes usually means fewer visits, fewer exploratory trips, and fewer future buyers. When Canadians stop imagining a life, even temporarily, in these American cities, they stop planning around them altogether. The data paints a clear picture. This isn't a glitch, it's a shift. Even agents in Arizona, a longtime snowbird rival to Florida, are noticing the silence. Some who typically work with 5 or 6 Canadian buyers a season haven't seen anyone this year. And again, in several cases, the only Canadian contacts they've had are people trying to sell, not buy. That quiet retreat has economic implications beyond snowbird season. It affects the construction industry, hospitality, transportation, and long-term investment in everything from healthcare to financial services. What used to be a reliable migration is now a shrinking trend, and it's leaving cities from the Gulf Coast to the Great Lakes wondering what happened. The answer? Canadians didn't just skip a season, they've stepped back entirely. And the United States, especially in 2025, is just starting to feel it. Florida's still basking in the sun, but its seasonal economy is cooling fast. The absence of Canadian snowbirds isn't temporary, it's transformational. If you found this eye-opening, hit like, subscribe, and share it. And if you're a former snowbird yourself, drop a comment. Your story might be in the next video.